memory, it keeps alive the memory of Hitler, and not in a good way. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Does this make sense at all?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why do we want Hitler's invention shoved down our throat, and I have to, he's dead, and his handiwork is parked on my street. You know? It's the Hitler-mobile. It bothers the shit out of me. Right? And it really bothers me when you know, Jews all have them. And the other one is, he was like the car enthusiast. The other one that bothers me is Mercedes. And the reason that Mercedes bothers me is because they designed the gas chambers.
But they were very efficient.
They got great gas mileage out of the gas chambers.
They go down so they're only spending like 1 penny for every Jew they kill.
Isn't that special? And you know what? Here's how I look at it. I know this is like not true, but it's just in my head, and this is how I see it. You know that Mercedes logo that's on the front of the,
right.
you know, it's like that peace sign
Yeah,
thingy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I look at that, I just say, what is the last thing my relatives saw in the gas chamber? They might as well have seen that logo on the wall. You know, it's this gas chamber brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, and like, you know, the master of engineering, wonderful design, and they see that thing, and then they died. So when I see that thing, right, when I see that thing, I immediately think of the gas chambers in the Holocaust. I can't get near that thing. I don't care who owns it today. To me, it sickens me to see a Mercedes-Benz. You know what? And you mentioned about the state of Israel, and I used to live there. And, oh, hey, Ginger's in the room. I used to live in the state of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I had never been in a German car in my entire life. Okay? Because, you know, everybody in my family boycotts German products. Not products, but German cars as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Products is a different thing. Like, I'll drink the beer and stuff because that doesn't mean anything to me, right?
You drink the beer, you'll sleep with the women, but
the cameras, there's no problem.
Yeah, you won't buy a
Volkswagen. No. And like I said, I don't know who owns BMW, so I don't necessarily have a problem with them. It's just Volkswagens and Mercedes, and for these reasons. I went to State of Israel,
mm-hmm.
and I was horrified that what is all the taxis running around Israel? What are they all? They're all Mercedes. And you know, I saw like this big 7-seater, which first time I ever seen a 7-seater, by the way. It was a 7-seater Mercedes, and they're all over Israel. And it shows up, and it's like 7 guys dressed like me, 7 Hasidic guys dressed like me, shoved in and squeezed into this car. And I said, "Oh my God, it's like they're going to the camps." I swear, I felt like they were being schlepped to the camps, and it was like, you know. And it was like an Arab driving the car, and it was. I was just freaking out. I was like, "Oh my God, don't go in there!" You know. And then like the buses show up, and they come like, you know, one after another. You know, Tachanat Merkazi, which is like the central bus station, and it's like these 55-seaters, these Egged buses, and every one of them is a Mercedes with the little thing in the front, and it's like one bus right after another, and I'm like, and the guy, you know, it's like like, where are you going? And I'm going to Dachau, and then, you know, Auschwitz. I'm like, I don't know, where is this bus going? You know, it just freaks me out. So I could never buy a Mercedes. That's my vort.
Okay, get some water, and I'm going to talk about how the Japanese didn't loot. So get some water.
Okay, go. You take it away.
So major props to the Japanese for not like seizing on earthquake and destruction as an opportunity to loot, because you know that if there was a major earthquake in Los Angeles, then there'd be mass looting. So remember the LA riots, or when the Lakers win a championship. And let's be honest, this looting is not evenly distributed among all religious and ethnic groups. It mainly takes place among lower class blacks and Latinos. So the white people, generally speaking, aren't out there looting. The Asians aren't out there looting. Like the Japanese aren't out there looting. But we have a big problem in America among significant portions of the underclass in the black and Latino community, where they just look for any opportunity to start looting, raping, and pillaging.
Okay, so that was your racist comment for today.
Brought to you by BMW.
It was funny. I was just I was just watching something right before this came over. You know, I had it on the background. I was watching Bill O'Reilly, and he was talking with a couple of people, and he said, oh, he was talking with what's that guy's name? The guy from NPR who got
Juan Williams.
Juan Williams, and Juan Williams was apparently, I didn't see it because it was Shabbos. So on Friday, it was actually before Shabbos, and I missed it. It was on Friday. Juan Williams was the guest host of Bill O'Reilly's show, and he had on some blonde, white, liberal woman who is like the head of some professor or something at some college, and she was talking about race relations, and she was talking to Juan Williams, and he said he's afraid to go on a street in some parts of the country because where the statistics are that the crime rate is 4 times higher amongst black males than it is amongst anyone else, right?
Yeah.
He's afraid. He sees 4 black males on the street. He goes the other way.
Exactly.
So this white liberal woman called him a racist and a bigot and all these things. And the guy's like, I wrote the book on civil rights, right? I'm a black guy and you're calling me a racist. I mean, you cannot say anything anymore. You cannot mention... If you mention a minority group nowadays, you are immediately called a racist.
I mean, I marched with Martin Luther King in Selma, Alabama, so that blacks could have the right to vote. I mean, if next to Juan Williams, I wrote the book on civil rights. It's called A History of X, 100 Years of Sex in Film, and it has a lot about the growth of interracial coupling.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. It's going to end up with black women in his bed. I know where this is.
Black women. I have slept with black women. There is nothing that has come between me and certain black women.
Okay.
So don't ever call me a racist. And with that, we'll get into the Parsha.
Go for it. I just want to see something in the chat room before we do, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if we lost Sylvia. Because she was complaining that we weren't doing enough Torah, and is she still... Now she's gone. Oh, that's a shame.
That's a crying shame.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It really breaks me up inside.
Who's been out of...
I'm crying inside. You may not see me crying, but Sylvia, I'm crying. Inside, my neshama is just... So this week's Parsha is Shemini, which is Leviticus chapter 9 through the end of Leviticus chapter 11.
Okay.
So what did God create on the second day of creation? He created separation, separated the land from the waters. So separation is essential to the Torah. Separation between humans and God, between man and woman, between adults and children, between kosher food and non-kosher food, between Jews and Gentiles. God wants an ordered universe. So the more deeply you go into traditional Jewish life, the more things get separated and ordered, and there are distinctions. So the modern secular world hates distinctions between men and women, adults and children, Jews and Gentiles, and that sort of thing. But the Torah view is a world of distinctions, which means a world of order. So for instance, birds that don't fly and fish that walk on land, they're not kosher. So God wants an ordered universe. So Leviticus is largely about separation and making order in the world. So unblemished is a big deal in the offerings that are brought at the temple. And you can't have cripples serving as priests officiating over these offerings. So don't give God your second best. If I just did, my natural thing, I'd kind of give God my second best. I'd save my best efforts for trying to nail hot chicks, then second best efforts for making money and getting the career success that I could nail hot chicks, and third, I'd give to my friends, and then fourth or fifth, naturally, that's what I'd give to God and religion. That's kind of my natural tendencies. But Leviticus is teaching us, that unblemished is a big deal with sacrifices. So don't just give your second best. Wear your best suit for sure. Don't just wear it to the Oscars or on hot dates with shiksas, because they'll probably just they'll get on your suit and they'll rub on you. They'll touch you a lot, because shiksas like to touch you a lot, and often they're wearing perfume, or they get various creams or ointments or oils that they've rubbed on themselves to produce these smells that are evocative of the tropics, or just so many fascinating smells, and they'll start rubbing you. Then you'll get this all over your nice suit, and they'll take off your suit, and then they'll lie down on top of your suit, and soon your suit is completely scrunched and spoiled. So don't do that with shiksas. Okay, Since the,
Can I comment on anything you said so far?
please, everything.
Okay, so